Today on Where in West Virginia is Mr. Casto. We're right here in our state's capital, Charleston, West Virginia, and we're going to start right here at our state capitol building. It's pretty amazing. You can see the gold dome on top. We're going to talk a little bit about it today. Let's check it out.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country road.
Before going inside the state capitol building, it's worth checking out all the memorials around the capitol grounds. These memorials are a great way to explore some of our state's history and the sacrifices West Virginians have made in the United States, such as the Miners Memorial dedicated in 2002. Perhaps the most notable memorial is the West Virginia Veterans Memorial. This memorial is dedicated to the over 10,000 West Virginians who've served in various 20th century wars. Standing out front of the Capitol is a statue of Abraham Lincoln titled Lincoln at Midnight, based on a 1914 poem of the same name. Standing out front, this is an amazing sight of the Capitol building. You'll also notice the golden dome itself that our Capitol is so known for. It is covered in copper and gold leaf and was recently restored to the original plans of Casto. From floor to ceiling, it's covered in amazing stone from places like Vermont and even Italy. The attention to detail is very obvious while walking around the Capitol grounds. Head to the rotunda and there are numerous statues of famous West Virginians like Robert C. Byrd, as well as a chandelier weighing 4,000 pounds and containing over 10,000 pieces of Czechoslovakian crystals. The Capitol building has 333 rooms and is 535,000 square feet, making it a very large building, and the dome itself is actually taller than the U.S. Capitol building. So today I'm right here inside the West Virginia State Capitol building. It was dedicated by William Conley, our governor, in 1932, poetically enough, on West Virginia's birthday on June 20th. It was designed by Casto Gilbert, and there's some amazing things in here. There's plenty of statues of great statesmen as well as governors of our state. If you want to see where laws are discussed in the past, you can walk to either side of the main building. The House of Delegates and State Senate chambers have desks that are hand-carved black walnut. There are also galleries above for viewing legislative sessions. The Senate site even has a dome ceiling full of intricate artwork. After leaving the West Virginia State Capitol building, right next door is the West Virginia Cultural Center. And this place has a lot to offer for people of all ages. Not only do they have a cool gift shop that you can find some local things from around the state, but they have a free museum downstairs, and it's so cool. It's very immersive, and it walks you from our state's early history all the way through the coal mining, through different wars that have been fought, and there's lots of amazing artifacts inside there as well. Throughout the museum, there are thousands of artifacts ranging from fossils to historical items from the Adena culture of the Woodland period to things like John Brown. Step back in time and slowly make your way through West Virginia's history. This immersive experience has audio and visual narration of major historical events in the state's history. The floor, wall, and ceilings change as you move from the frontier history of the state to coal mining to other eras of our state's history. Important years along the state's history are found on the floor as you walk from era to era exploring the state's history. There are recreations of historical places like an old movie theater that resembles the Keith Albee in downtown Huntington, and directly across from it is a recreated drugstore. Move further along and there are many homages to our state's developments in transportation. In fact, the entrance to one of the rooms of the transportation looks like the outside of the famous memorial tunnel that was on the turnpike. Now we are off to grab a bite to eat at Gonzoburger, located in Elk City. I've heard they have great burgers, but I've also heard that you have to try their homemade pretzels as well. When you first walk in Gonzoburger, it's amazing looking around at all the old items around you. And the menu itself has a lot of items to choose from, ready to fill any appetite. All right, so we're right here at Gonzoburger in Charleston, and man, this food looks delicious. So you better bring your appetite if you stop by here. Today I'm gonna be trying two things. I'm gonna be trying an appetizer, which is the soft pretzel And there's some nice beer cheese to go with it. Man, it's like a flavor explosion. That's delicious. All right, so I've just eaten some of that soft pretzel. Man, was that good. If I would have eaten the whole thing, I probably wouldn't have had room for this Gonzoburger. But look at this thing right here. Lettuce, tomato, onion, pickle, and their special Gonzo sauce. It looks incredible. Give it a shot right now. It's a good burger. The sauce is awesome. It also comes with very large steak fries with some great seasoning on them. Man, that's good. I will not be leaving here hungry. After having an amazing burger, now it's time to talk to the owner, David Hayden, about the history of this wonderful restaurant.
This building has a ton of history in Charleston. Originally, early 20s to the late 40s, this was a Sad Brothers Confectionery, S-A-D-D, Sad family. And Mr. Sad raised his family in what was the apartment upstairs. And that's where most of the really cool stuff in here came from. That mantle came out of the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair. And it was all hand carved in Germany. In the early 50s, a man named Gus Casto bought the building, and he opened Chris's Hot Dogs. This is where you came in Charleston for hot dogs. I mean, and on Saturday, you waited for a table. I mean, the herd could be playing at home, Mountaineers could be playing at home, and everybody's in Huntington, Morgantown, you still waited for a table. But we tried to keep it as close to what Chris's was, and this is what it looked like. All the art that you see on the walls is all local artists, and it's all for sale. I get to cover some huge walls with some beautiful art. Local artists get to have their art on display and get to sell it. So it's a win-win situation. My wife and I bought Gonzoburger. First of all, we do craft burgers. We have our own proprietary grind that we get from Buzz Foods that was specially developed by the original owner.
After checking out some amazing places in Charleston, it's time to head to Base Camp Printing Company. We're just around the corner from Gonzoburger, and they sell some amazing artwork that uses old techniques in a new way.
Yeah, we were born and raised here in Charleston, so we both, after college, went to bigger cities thinking that's what we had to do to make a living, and then we both ended up back in Charleston, and that's kind of where the name of our business comes from, actually. This is our Base Camp Charleston, where we always come back to, so that's why we're called Base Camp Printing.
We started Base Camp back in 2016, and I got into letterpress printing in college. I studied graphic design at WVU, and they have an incredible wood engraving collection. We actually set up an independent study, and he taught me how to print, and I worked with the collection. And I just loved the blending of printmaking and graphic design, being able to like work with your hands, but also create. We hand carve out of linoleum to create images, and then we put those together to create posters, wedding invitations, basically anything on paper will do. And we have a series called our Explore West Virginia series, and they feature some of like the most popular landmarks across the state. And so really anything that celebrates West Virginia, especially the outdoors, nature, like the best gyms that West Virginia has to offer. We always try to highlight those, and those are always really popular. Yes, this is one of our presses. It is called a Chandler and Price. This is about 100 years old, and we print all of our smaller things on this press. This is the first press that we got that we've worked with. And so it runs on a motor. I can get it started. I just have to flip this switch down here and then move the flywheel to get it going. It's gonna be a little loud. And yeah, once it's moving, then it'll just run on its own. Get like a stack of paper. You we stand here and we just hand feed the press one sheet of paper at a time, so into this table. And then once we pull this lever, that's when it will actually print. And so we just stand here and feed it as many times. We do one color at a time, one print at a time. So it's a really, just hands-on process. It's really fun. It's a really great machine. All of these cabinets are filled with our type, all of our movable type that we use. We mostly use wood type. I can show you some of these. We have all different sizes, all different weights. So we just have the whole alphabet here. Some bigger stuff, and then some really small, skinny stuff. And we will just pick out letters and start setting a poster. We'll first draw out what we want on the poster, and then we'll usually start setting type. Set some type and took a proof of it just on tracing paper. So she inked up this type, just printed it on this tracing paper, and then cut it up and put the type where she wanted, and then, kind of filled the rest of the space with her design, with her image. And now she's carving it in a linoleum block. So once she carves that, we'll just take it to the press and we'll start the first color. This is going to be 3-color design. So she has 3 different blocks that she's carving. So this one's already carved. So what is raised is what will be printed, and what she's carved away, that won't print. So it's basically just a giant stamp that we're making. In the recent years, we've really strived to work with other West Virginia businesses, other people who are just as excited about West Virginia, whatever their thing is. Like, they get to come to us, and they're doing like a Comic-Con convention, and they need a really cool poster, and they're so excited about this event, and then they come to us, and we're so excited to make that poster for them. And it's just like working with other people that are like super passionate and excited about this process, like, makes things really rewarding. With Mountain Stage, that's another gig that we have where we do a poster for every show, and they like love the posters as much as we do, and so it's just like a really awesome relationship that we have with them. So like finding those people that are like doing really cool things and just being able to collaborate with them has been really fun. We both used to work for Kinship Goods, who we share this building with. And when they were in their downtown location on Hale Street, that's when I was working for them, and they let me just make my own cards and posters and like sell them in their store. They helped me find a press, and then they just like really encouraged me to just like do my own thing, like no matter how small it is right now. And they saw something in me, and when they moved into this space, their store is just on the other side of our shop. They offered this space to me rent-free for 3 years.
We've done some posters for Blinko, the glass company in Milton, and we're actually, the last couple of years, we worked on becoming officially licensed with WVU, so we can use their trademarks, and we have a partnership where we make a poster for the Alumni Association.
Oh, that's awesome.
So this is the 3rd year that we've done that.
And this was made in 1957, and these types of presses were originally used as proof presses before you would take your plate to a larger press for like newspapers. They would set it up on these proofing presses, and it was a lot easier to edit things and move type around before they would move on to like a larger press to just do the full run of like newspapers. If I'm ready to print, I'll turn on this motor, which controls this barrel right here. This is the only thing that really moves on its own. And then when I roll this on top of that, these rollers start moving too. So I would put the ink on these rollers, and then this metal one is oscillating, so it distributes the ink evenly. And then whatever you're printing, you put on this bed here. And to ink it, you just crank this, roll the rollers over top of your block, and that contact is what would distribute the ink on your linoleum block. And so then when you're ready to print, you step on this foot pedal, which raises these grippers, and then you slide your paper under those grippers, and you can just release your foot and the grippers will clamp down, and then you just roll your piece of paper over top of your block. And if we had ink on there, then the ink would transfer onto this poster, and that's how we do our Explore West Virginia posters. So we're actually printing on brown paper, and then the ink is the green that pretty much covers the whole poster. And yeah, this block is hand carved out of linoleum. Everything's backwards so that when it prints correctly. And yeah, this is definitely one of our most popular posters. We've had to redo it since it became a national park. Like, it always still like blows my mind that like somebody paid money for it and framed it and are like hanging it up. Like,
I never get tired of people telling me that they have it up in their house, because like of course that's where it ends up, like on somebody's wall, but I kind of like forget that. And so it's really cool when people are like, oh, I have some of your posters, or I saw your posters at my doctor's office.
yeah.
I'm always like so excited.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching and keep exploring.
West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country road.